Hey guys, it's an absolute pleasure to see you. I'm Ben, or Big Ben. I am here, as promised, right by where we're starting for this tour, and I cannot wait to give you this. I haven't done this tour in months, so I am incredibly excited. If you've had me before on tours and you visited London before, please comment. Remind me who you are, even if it was 7 years ago and I gave you a tour. Write down, where are you right now and what time is it? It's 3 p.m. in the UK, 4 p.m. in Central Europe. If you're in New York, it's 10 a.m. And if you've just woken up in 7 a.m. in LA, have a cappuccino and welcome. Good morning. And we're giving you this fantastic thing of a live tour right here in my city of London. And I'm so excited. This is the first ever live stream tour here in London for SANDEMANs. We're going to wait a few moments just to allow people to log in. If you don't know or you haven't found out about it yet, please like, please share. Tell people that we're doing this tour right now. Remind them we've got lots of friends and fans, and tell them that we're doing this fantastic tour right now. So like it, share it, send in comments. What time is it where you at? Where are you right now? What are you doing? Are you just having breakfast? Have you had lunch? Are you coming in from a night out on the Lash in Sydney? Tell me, but welcome to my city. My name is Ben, or Big Ben as people like to call me, and I'm a Londoner, I'm a historian. I studied at Cambridge, I also studied here, and my areas of expertise are royal history, Victorian history, military history, and also Jack the Ripper. I'm the youngest ripperologist you have ever met, all right? Normally they're sort of middle-aged men that still live with their parents, but I'm a young ripperologist. And my hobbies are reading, I'm a professional writer, and not only that, I'm a big fan of rugby and I do amateur boxing. So it's fantastic to meet you all and welcome. What you can do to help us right now is, I know exactly what you're going to say, donate. Well, yes, you can. That would be incredibly helpful. The whole tour guiding industry has been horrendously hit by COVID, and these are the first live tours we're doing. Hey, we're operating, we're still doing tours as we speak. London is open, it's safe, it's ready. However, we need people to donate so we can do these tours all over the world, and we can, every penny that you give goes towards the equipment, goes towards me, the guides, and it helps us out tremendously. So whatever you can, we really do appreciate it. And if you're strapped for cash, I'll tell you what you can do, which is equally as helpful. Like, share, spread, tell your friends, tell your family, and tell me what is the next tour you want and where, what country. We will do it for you, okay? You know, wherever you want, all right? New York, all right? Dublin, Munich, all right? Edinburgh, we can do it for you, because all us guys at SANDEMANs are doing these fantastic tours. And when Chris Sandeman, the founder of the free tour, came up to me yesterday and said, hey Ben, do you fancy doing a live stream tour tomorrow? I said, yes. It's going to be mental, but yes, because it's exciting. And do forgive us if there's a few technical glitches on the way, if it goes completely pear-shaped. Do not log off. We will be back with you within seconds, you know, and enjoy me for some high comic value of stumbling over myself and getting things wrong. And also, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a really fantastic tour for you today. Please follow me on Instagram, Big Ben Tour Guide, and I show you history and lots of fantastic things, photo, art, every day of all my tours, Big Ben Tour Guide. Now, if you look up here, ladies and gentlemen, this is the wonderful St. Paul's Cathedral that was built after the Great Fire of London by Sir Christopher Wren. This was his monolith, his epitaph, one of the greatest things he ever built. It is absolutely incredible, and it's 364 feet high. How do I remember that? Because there are 365 days in the year. Look at these gorgeous Corinthian columns and the level of detail of the sculpturing. And it's made of this stone, as many buildings in the city of London are made, is simply because after the Great Fire, thatched roofs were constitutionally banned, all right? So that meant you weren't allowed to build them anymore. So they built a lot of stonework. And the great thing about St. Paul's Cathedral is it is huge, it is ginormous, it is beautiful. And a bit of social history for you, it is the first ever cathedral that had a royal wedding, because normally the royal weddings take place at Westminster Abbey. However, Diana and Charles in the 80s had their royal wedding here. You ask yourselves why? Because there was so much controversy over why they had it there. Simply because it was a practical reason. Princess Diana couldn't fit through the doors of Westminster Abbey because her dress, she looked like a meringue. It was like very 1980s, sort of very bouffant, very stylish, very iconic with that large train. And also she wanted that iconic, beautiful moment of walking up the steps. You remember it in Vogue magazine, that beautiful picture of her. So it was the first ever royal wedding to happen at St. Paul's Cathedral. Now, a little bit about what we're going to do on this tour today is we are going to walk down Millennium Bridge, also known as the Wobbly Bridge, tell you a few stories, exciting things, a bit about Harry Potter. And not only that, we're going to show you the Tate Modern Museum, walk down the South Bank, which is beautiful this time of year in autumn. And also, I'm going to show you the Globe Theatre, one of the best theatres in the world that carries on the tradition of outdoor theatre during the Elizabethan era. And my favourite playwright, Bill Shakespeare, all right? Not only that, folks, we're going to walk down, show you the Anchor pub where all the Lord Chamberlain's men, the actors, used to drink there and get absolutely hammered when they would get bad reviews. And not only that, we're going to go all the way to the Golden Hind. And if we have time, we'll go to Borough Market and have a good old wrap up there. Tell me where you are. If you're just joining us, lovely to meet you. I'm Big Ben, the tour guide. If you've got any questions, please feel free to ask me anything. And also, ladies and gentlemen, tell me where you are right now, what time it is. Welcome, it's 3 p.m. here in London, and this is the first ever live stream tour for SANDEMANs, free walking tours around London, all right? So, ladies and gentlemen, what we're doing right now is we're heading across the road and we're going towards Millennium Bridge, which is one of 52 bridges in London. But if you look up here, ladies and gentlemen, this is obviously the City of London School, where, funnily enough, Daniel Radcliffe, who was an international superstar before he became a Hollywood sensation, came to this school. But not only that, folks, this is the emblem of the City of London. Because what a lot of people don't actually know is that London isn't one city, it's two cities, all right? The City of Westminster and the City of London. Even Londoners don't know this. The City of Westminster, the west side of London, that's where the government, the monarchy, the Metropolitan Police are, that's where a lot of the money is. But the City of London is the financial district, the City of Londinium that the Romans discovered. That is purely independent. It's not ruled by the government. It's not ruled by the monarchy. It's completely separate from anything else, and it's very small, and the architecture is completely different, and it's beautiful, and it's very tiny. So the City of London is technically a city within a city. And if you go to Temple Bar, where the Knights Templar started, that is a city within a city within a city, if you can wrap your arms around that. Now, if you look over here, ladies and gentlemen, this is Millennium Bridge, built by Sir Norman Foster. This is one of 52 bridges in London. We've got a great deal of bridges in London because it's a very, very large city, one of the largest cities in the world, and we need to transport Londoners back and forth. This is a pedestrian bridge, but it's got a very funny story. Take your mind back to the year 2000, 20 years ago. I remember when this bridge opened. Sir Norman Foster built it, and it was 6 weeks overdue. It opened on the 16th of February 2000, 6 weeks late. And the issue with that is it wobbled from side to side. It was dangerous. No one would use this bridge. The only people that would use it were the kids that went to City of London School. All right, over here, they used to run across the bridge and bet each other to see if they would die, because it was like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. If you've not seen that film, shame on you. Go and watch it. It's fantastic. It's an 80s icon. So everyone kept complaining again and again and again. They all kept complaining. And then finally, Norman Foster responded, front page, all the newspapers, I quote, "There is nothing wrong with my bridge. It is the Londoners that are walking on it." Now, that's something you don't say. Us Londoners are proud people. The government got involved. And if you look over here, these are the buttresses and the reinforcement works that they use to make the bridge safe so people could actually cross it, because it was very dangerous. Now, those of you who are potheads, Harry Potter fans, if you've seen Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, you'll see this bridge at the beginning. This is an incredible moment. It was an inside joke by David Yates, the director. The Death Eaters come into London and they blow up this bridge. It wobbles from side to side as a private joke to Londoners, and it crashes in the River Thames. And in 2009, at the Odeon in Leicester Square, at the premiere, the whole audience, made up of Londoners, apparently got to their feet and gave a standing ovation, because we hate that bridge, because it's known as one of the worst bridges in London. But I quite like it. What do you think? Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you look all the way over there, you will see Tower Bridge, all right, in the distance. That lovely double-tiered bridge with the spires. It's one of the most iconic bridges in the world. This was built by Queen Victoria. She wanted literally to bridge the gap between the divides, because on the north of the river, the North Bank, that is where all the rich people were. That's where all the bankers were, the money. And on the South Bank, that is where all the prostitutes, all the sailors, all the murderers. And you know what actually happened? They all moved in, and it became one of the dangerous places in London, Tower Bridge, so people never went near it at all. But it's one of the most beautiful bridges, and if you've seen it open, it is an incredible sight. It's like a ceremony. Now, if you look over here, that is what I was talking about earlier. That cluster of buildings, those skyscrapers, that is the City of London, the financial district. It's very small indeed, but there's a lot of money and a lot of influence. And if you see over there, that bent curve building over there, that is called the Walkie-Talkie, all right, an incredible building. Now, when it was built, the glass was so reflective that in 2009, a banker parked his Jaguar XKR outside the building, and during the heat wave, it melted his Jaguar. True story, hysterical, so they had to change it. Now, also, folks, if you look over there, just pointing up through the sky, that is the Shard. That is one of the tallest buildings in Europe, and it was built by, or designed rather, by Renzo Piano, an Italian architect. And he pitched the idea simply in a restaurant in the late 90s on a back of a menu to some oil baron billionaires, and they'll say, great, we'll build it. A lot of people say, Ben, when is it finished? It already is. It looks like a shard of glass. And also, folks, it's one of the only buildings ever to, before it's even been built, it featured in the film Children of Men in 2006. It hadn't even been built yet, and it was in the background because it was set in the future. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to make our way down to the South Bank if some of you haven't even met us before, and I'm going to take you all the way down and show you lots of different things. If you're just joining us, welcome. My name's Big Ben. And I'm your tour guide for today, and this is the first ever London streamed one ever, and we're doing this here together for the first time ever. You're experiencing this from the comfort of your homes or wherever you are. Tell me where you are and tell me what you're doing right now and what time it is in what country. But right now it's 3 p.m. in the UK. If you look up here, folks, this is an incredible building. This is called the Tate Modern, all right? This is a free museum. And not only that, it used to be a factory, but it is one of the best modern museums of art in London, if not Europe. And as I said, it's completely free. And when you get to the top, it's got a great view of London. Now, also, as we make our way down the South Bank or down the embankment, you'll notice that this is the area of arts and culture. This is where the Royal Festival Hall is. This is where the National Theatre is. This is where all the artists come, and it's always been that tradition for centuries. So it's a real artsy part of the world, and there's some great pubs also to visit. And we are now going to make our way to the Globe Theatre, which is one of my favourite theatres in London, all right? And it does some incredible productions. Some of the best plays I have ever seen have been at the Globe Theatre. I remember in 2010, 10 years ago, I went and saw Troilus and Cressida, all right? And all the actors were captivating the audience so well that when it was pouring down with rain, horrendous rainfall, normally everyone would run out because it's an open air theatre. People didn't. They stayed there because what they were watching was so good and it was so funny. What's your favourite Shakespeare play? Do you like the history? Do you like the comedies? Do you like the tragedies? Mine is A Midsummer Night's Dream, and I'd probably say my other favourite one is Julius Caesar as a history play. And they do all of them. And the great thing about it is they only do the plays when it's the warm months of the year. So they start in the spring and they end in the autumn. And you can go up into the galleries where it's sort of, you know, for the posh people and the rich, like Queen Elizabeth, the Virgin Queen, would do. Or you can go and be a groundling and stand there like they used to do in the good old days before you'd seen the bear baiting, the ladies of the night, the harlots, the prostitute, the cucumber thieves, name it what you will, used to hang around here, and they used to have cockfights and all these incredible things. But if you look up here, ladies and gentlemen, here we are, the Globe Theatre. This wasn't the original site, but it pretty much replicates exactly what it was, built by Sam Wanamaker in 1997. It is an incredible theatre and one of my favourite theatres. It's been destroyed, burnt down several times before, but now it's been standing since the 90s right here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when you walk down London, or the River Thames, because it is a tidal river that's controlled by hydraulic engines, all right, and because it goes out into the ocean, into the English Channel, there's actually a mystery, this sort of idea that historians have said, it's a legend in texts as well, that actually on one side of the river towards the west side of London, if you dip your finger in and taste the water, don't ever do this, you'll die, all right, but if you dip your finger in the water and taste it, it's fresh water. And then apparently if you go past Southwark Bridge and you dip your finger in the water, it's salt water, because we're going closer to the ocean, all right? It's pretty amazing indeed. But also the fascinating thing is that when London was first built, if you look over here at the River Thames, it's a very big river indeed, and it's incredibly wide. But would you believe that originally it was twice the width? It was a ginormous river. And actually, the Strand, which is both sides of the river bankment, coming from the Anglo-Saxon word strand, or the German word strand, meaning beach, is actually, it was twice the width because the economy was growing so much rapidly at an accelerated rate, and because of for trade and taking cargo around during the Victorian era, they built into the river to create more jobs, but also more housing for people to live there. So London is a ginormous city because it couldn't grow out anymore, because it was getting so large. What we're doing, folks, is we're heading down the South Bank and we're going to shortly see the Anchor pub, which was originally called the Mermaid. And this is where the Lord Chamberlain's men used to drink. And this is where they used to hang out after they used to do all these plays. And you've got to remember that plays were very, very different back in the Elizabethan age. They were far more political, far more changing. Imagine watching Henry V when you'd been at war with the French for hundreds of years, how it would rally people up and change and get people jacked up for war. Or imagine watching Richard III when everyone knew it was a public information that people were trying to usurp Elizabeth, the Virgin Queen, because she had no heir. Can you imagine that? Watching Richard III and seeing this tyrannical, evil king on stage saying to the audience that he was going to plot and kill members of the royal family so he could be king. So it was incredibly political indeed. Now the great thing, folks, is if you come round here and look on down here, we are heading underneath Southwark Bridge, which is pretty exciting indeed. And normally here you have all the mime artists and you have all the guitarists and the buskers, but obviously right now there's not that many people around London. And we've got this big echo chamber as well when we go under. And here, folks, if you look up here, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is the City of London, the financial district, the City of Londinium, discovered by the Romans, all right? Because this does not belong to the monarchy, it does not belong to the government, it belongs to us. It's the people's city. That's why its crest is not of the royal family, all right? It's of the dragon, representing the king of beasts. It's above the lion, which represents the city of Westminster. And if you look very carefully over there, you'll see a little thing poking out, just poking out, like a little lipstick. That is the gherkin. Can you see it? Probably not, maybe we'll get a better angle. But if you look just slightly, that thing sticking out right in between, that thing poking out, it looks like a lipstick. No, it's too far, we can't see it, ladies and gentlemen. But down here, we are entering basically the last part of the South Bank, up towards Southwark. We're in the borough of Southwark now, and we're going to see Southwark Cathedral as well. And if you look up here, here's a closer view of the Shard. Look how ginormous it is, all right? It's huge. And if you look over here, here's the original Anchor pub. All right, this was originally called the Mermaid. This is where the Lord Chamberlain's men used to come after they'd done their play. They'd finish off their plays, whether they got good reviews or bad reviews, and they would get absolutely lacerated in here. Now it's called the Anchor, and you can enjoy a pint outside in the winter or in the summer, whether it's hot or cold. And the funny thing is that they had no females in the cast whatsoever, simply because they had little boys dress up, all right? They had little boys playing all the female roles, so Juliet would be played by a young boy. They didn't have any women in the Elizabethan theatre. Don't ask why, it was more to do with William Shakespeare's preference, if I'm honest with you. Now we're going to go around here and I've got something really special to show you. One of the most famous artists in London, especially the East End of London. This is called Jimmy C, all right? James Cochrane. And he's done an iconic devotion here to the Bard. if we come and have a look right here. Have a look at this. Jimmy C. James Cochran, follow him on Instagram, Australian-Irish street artist, one of the most famous artists in Europe, really making a name for himself. And he does this incredible style called spray drip technique, where he shakes the can rapidly and he sprays it and it drips down. He is very, very iconic. And obviously this is Bill William Shakespeare, the famous playwright. And this is one of his most iconic pieces. And you can tell that he's a respected artist because it hasn't been tagged or ruined whatsoever. Now, if you follow me down here, I'm going to take you to a pretty disturbing bit of history, but very fun nevertheless. Now, I'm going to show you the Clink Prison. Now, the Clink Prison is where they used to keep pirates, sailors, prostitutes, pagan. Now, that doesn't sound too bad if you're a pagan. Basically, if you weren't Catholic or Protestant or the other way around, you would go here. So you hadn't really done anything wrong. But unfortunately, you would have these horrific torture techniques, like our friend up here, who's having a jolly good bad day at the office. Do you see? There he is. Yeah, he's got himself in the pickle. And they had all these horrific ways they used to torture people down here. One of the worst ways they used to torture people was called the dead man's boot, which they would use on pagans or pirates, which was a big lead boot they used to put on you and clamp you in it. Now, that doesn't sound too bad, but there was a bit of wood on your toe cap, and they would fill it with water so it would expand and you would cut your feet. It was horrible indeed. Also, if you look over here, this is where the bishop used to stay, his palace, right here. He would look over the Clink Prison where he'd keep all the prisoners in his luxury palace, and in a moment we're going to see the original ruins, which are pretty much perfectly reserved. And this is where he would stay, pretty smarmy, and look over at all the prisoners inside the Clink, all right? Now have a look round here, and I'm going to show you the ruins of Winchester Palace. And have a look, there's the cross originally of the foundations. And as you look up on the wall here, this is the original ruins and where the stained glass window would have been, right at the top there. Now as we go around the corner, I'm going to show you the Golden Hind. Right, now this is a fantastic ship. It's not the original one, unfortunately, but it looks pretty much exactly the same as how it used to be. And this is where Sir Francis Drake took this ship all around pretty much half of the globe, and he was a professional pirate. He stole all this money and he fought a lot of Spanish and killed a lot of Spanish. If you look over here, this is the Golden Hind, which was originally called the Pelican, but that doesn't sound as sexy, so they changed it to Hind, which is of course a baby deer. And if you look at the front of the ship here, you'll see the deer's head. There's the Golden Hind, hence the name. And funnily enough, it was on this very ship where Sir Francis Drake, when he came back from this epic expedition all around the Americas and the globe, and he fought all these Spanish and he'd stolen all this gold, this horrific thing happened is when they opened up the ship, Queen Elizabeth, the Virgin Queen, came on deck and knighted him there and then, because all that gold he had basically paid off the national debt of England, because they owed a lot of money to people. So technically what he did was very, very wrong and very, very dangerous and completely not allowed whatsoever. He was a professional pirate, but because he paid off the national debt, he was seen as a bit of a hero. Now what we're going to do, folks, is we're going to head through Borough Market. Now this is one of the best markets in London. There's lots of markets in London. I would say Camden Market is a pretty cool place to visit. Also, you can go to Spitalfields Market, but in terms of food, this is the best market to go to. I'm also sort of feeling a bit hungry as we speak now, because they've got all this wonderful street food. You can get lovely sort of alcohol, honeys, cakes, and the great thing about it is it's not too expensive either. And if you look up here, this is Southwark Cathedral. This is one of the oldest cathedrals, apart from St. Paul's in the City of London. And it looks more like a church, but technically it is a cathedral because we are in the borough of Southwark. It's got this lovely pudding stone on the side, which is a special design. Now, once we head into Borough Market, a lot of you might recognise this from the Prisoner of Azkaban and Harry Potter, and I'm going to show you the very pub I'm going to show you. Sorry, I almost got killed then. That was a bit Mary Poppins, that did a little jump. I'm going to show you the very pub where they filmed Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, where the triple-decker night bus, the purple night bus, which Harry travels on. This is an occupational hazard right now, but we're doing very well. No guys have died in the making of this video so far. You'll know because it's all live, all right? And this actually here, this market, is one of the oldest markets in London, and it's one of my favourite markets, especially for food. So we're going to have a little look around here, and I might get you hungry as well. Take it all in, all the atmosphere of it, all these wonderful smells. You can get anything you want if you're vegan, if you're vegetarian, if you want Thai, if you want Mexican, if you want Spanish. It is truly fantastic, all right? But this is a really special market and very large indeed. And it's my favourite food market. I come here for lunch quite often. Also bear in mind that it closes earlier. Markets start very early, especially if they're fish markets. Have a look around. Not only that, there's this fantastic thing where you can see the fish market and all these stuff. Back in the day when they used to have this Victorian market, you would come here and there'd be a live cattle. There'd also be fish wriggling around, taken straight out of the Thames, and you could buy it there fresh. That's how you get fresh fish. It's a great place for you to get sort of gifts and drinks and chocolates, and also fresh bread and cakes. It's one of my favourite markets. I think I've said that 4 times because it is one of my favourite markets here. And not only what we're going to do now is we're going to take you to our final stop of the tour before we wrap things up, which, as I said, is the Market Porter. All right, this is an operating pub. It's a real pub, but originally this was the pub where, in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, the triple-decker purple night bus stopped outside this pub, which served as the leaky cauldron. Now, unfortunately, there's a story, which may be myth, may be reality, that on the first take, the bridge we're about to see, they didn't estimate how tall it was going to be, and the triple-decker night bus took off the first layer, and it delayed shooting by quite a few days because they had to rebuild the entire bus again. Now have a look at these guys here, alive and wriggling. Point out which lobster you want, take it home. You don't have to eat it, it can be your pet. And also we have all these wonderful fish, octopi, and if you don't like lobster, you can always have a bit of crab. And they also do the most fantastic burgers here too. And if you look up here, this is the original structure they had for Borough Market. Always been impressed, very iconic. And also, especially this time of year, coming up to Christmas, mulled wine. The problem with it is it's so good you can drink a bit too much of it. And the colder it is, the more you drink. Fresh fruit and vegetables. And here, ladies and gentlemen, if you look over here, is the Market Porter. This was the filming location for The Prisoner of Azkaban, all right? And this, if you look at this bridge up here, this is where the triple-decker night bus, the original, apparently, first layer cut off during filming because they didn't estimate how high it was and how tall the bus would be, all right? But this is a very famous pub, really good pub indeed, but this is where they filmed for Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I can't tell you how exciting it has been to give you this tour right here. My name is Big Ben. This is the first ever live stream tour we have given for you. Please comment, please like, please share. Tell us where you want to go, what you want to see next, which city, which tour. We'll tell you exactly what we want and where we want it. So thank you so much. You can hear the market stallers shouting as well. That's when they would shout out the price of fish, or bread, or fruit, or vegetables. Tell me where you are. Tell me where you've watched this tour from. Tell me if you've been on one of my tours before. Please like and share it, and thank you so much. I cannot tell you what a pleasure it has been. I love you so much for joining this tour. It has been such a pleasure It's been so fantastic to give you this tour. I haven't done it in months, so it's sort of blowing off the cobwebs, but it's been so exciting, so thank you. And please, please, please donate as much as you can or as little as you can. It would be so, so helpful. All the money, all your donations go towards getting new equipment to the guys, to the company, so we can go all over the world and do these live stream tours, because some of you can't come here, so we're bringing the tours to you live in the comfort of your homes, all right? So please like, please share, please follow me on Instagram, Big Ben Tour Guide. I'll show you lots of history, street art, little bits of things, fun facts that people don't know. If you have any questions, go on Instagram, DM me, and I'll tell you where you want to go, if you want to visit, if you want to try museums or restaurants. That's what it's there for. But thank you so much for joining us here. Hopefully I'll see you again. And this is Big Ben signing off. God bless. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Cheers.